You guys are gonna have to speak up a little bit because you're farther away. Really.
All right. Good morning. It's Friday, September 13th, and we are here with some special guests of ours. They're all the way from Florida. They came specifically for our show, right?
Yeah,
that's what I heard.
I would say our number one fan.
Yeah, they're our number one fan. Which means there's no one watching now. They'll log on.
No, it's because she's here.
Yeah.
we didn't think about this problem.
Right. But they will. They'll log on. At least one or two will be on here soon. And your dad's got to watch today, right?
Yeah, but he watches on YouTube. I mean, go check.
Right. Yeah,
well, and he just came into town yesterday. He's wanting to know what I'm doing with my schedule.
Oh.
Yeah, so he might not watch either. Depends if he's got internet at my brother's or not.
Okay. Does he want to be a guest next week on the show?
Could be.
All right. We'll fit him in because we've got a lot of people. I mean, we got
Your
Beyonce.
dad?
Yeah.
Then we can know all about Matt.
Oh yeah, we've been all
I'll just tell you all about Matt.
Yeah. Matt's usually not afraid to talk about his problems and issues. But yeah, I mean, we got Beyonce like in 3 weeks, and
Beyonce,
some other big.
Really?
Robbie Zacharias will be here with us in a month or two.
Yeah.
So
why don't you try and land small fish first, like the guy over on Pettibone, and then we'll go for Robbie Zacharias.
You mean Alistair Bay?
Yeah.
He just for some reason will not get back with me.
No,
I think,
and he's local in the area.
I think it's his Irish accent that's the problem. He hears this Americans. I mean, I'm so American, and he's like, I'm not doing that.
It's either that or I'm bringing you down, and he won't.
Yeah. All right. So we need to stop talking silly. But our guests here are Richard and Naomi Wipert, and they actually are in from Florida. They live in Florida. And I know them because back in the day when I went to Bible college in Florida, we went to the same church together and we got to know them and their children. Matter of fact, my son, Brian, my oldest son, who is now at Mount Vernon, we haven't seen him now for 2.5 weeks and we're missing him. And yet at the same time, it is more quiet at home. And I just realized today too, see how I digress? I just realized I made guacamole the other night for people? No, for Chipotle. Like we have homemade Chipotle. Yeah. So I made guacamole and I only had 3 avocados. Now, normally we use like 6 to 8 avocados. So I make this and I'm like, there's not enough here. That stuff has lasted us for almost 3 days now. And I looked at April this morning and I go, I know where our food is going.
Yeah.
Brian eats it all.
Right.
So anyway, but Brian, our oldest son, Brian, he had his first kiss in Florida. Your daughter.
My daughter?
Mm-hmm. They were about this tall. If they were standing on a table, they were about this tall. And she came up and kissed him on the cheek. And April still always tells Brian, she's like, your first kiss was Rihanna. And you don't remember that?
I don't remember that.
Because I thought if I remember right, Richard, you were like, I'm going to kill.
Maybe we can hook the two up because my daughter can't find a man.
No.
And I don't know what it is. It could be her overpowering personality because she's kind of bossy.
Oh, okay. Well, then opposites may attract because Brian's pretty low key level like April. He's got level April's personality just
that could be.
Never changes really. So, all right. Well, let's start here then. Richard, you. In Florida, you used to work as you used to lay block. I remember I worked for one summer, and you and your dad probably thought this guy's an idiot. He can't do anything right. We can't wait till the summer's over to get rid of him. But then you moved on to inspector, and now what are you doing now?
I do plan review. When someone wants a permit, they come in and submit their plans, and I review them to see if they're co-compliant or not.
Okay. So do people treat you kinder now than they did when you were an inspector, or is it even worse?
They don't quite use the language they use when you're an inspector, but they might not like me as much or anymore.
Yeah. So. Nice. Wow. Well, that's good. And Naomi, you are now doing, it sounds like photography and all kinds of stuff. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I work full-time as a substance abuse counselor / office manager / whatever else he wants me to be.
Wow.
So he's a forensic psychiatrist and he's the team psychiatrist for the NFL. So we see a lot of NFL players as well. And then I do photography on the side. I do sports photography for high school sports.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Now that we'll get back to that stuff
Okay.
because I want to know what's wrong with these NFL people. But tell us about you got 3 children, beautiful children, and some grandchildren. So tell us a little bit about that.
So my oldest grandchild is 6, and Elijah is 3.
Wow.
Oldest one is Grayson.
Grayson. Okay.
Elisha's the one that you got to watch out for, though.
Yeah, you were just talking about that a little bit before we went on, right?
Yeah.
Rick is the oldest, and the 2 grandsons are his.
Right.
And Alicia.
You would think that being such a perfect child that
Yeah.
the grandkids would be the same, but it's not.
Because Rick really was a good kid,
He
right?
was. He was. And Grayson is the same way.
Yeah.
Grayson is book smart. He's, quiet.
Right.
And Elijah's the complete opposite.
Now, not to take away from Rihanna and Robert, but they were good kids too. I mean, all 3 of them were good kids, right?
For the most part.
I mean, as far as not,
There was some thinking there.
yeah. Because I remember Robert just kind of being really low key and just he didn't really talk a lot.
Were you around when Robert kept trying to escape the school?
No.
And they finally called and said, you
Uh-uh.
need to come get your kid. He's climbed the fence 3 times.
Good.
Because he didn't want to do a book report.
Oh wow.
How old?
Wow.
He was 2nd grade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This would be a problem if he was like
Yeah.
16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm not sure which one instigated trying to do things that might burn down the house,
that was Rick.
setting fires.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We came home,
Gotta
Well,
watch
they
this.
just got bored.
smoke filled,
Yeah.
burnt towels in the sink.
Perfect.
So they were just catching things on fire. At least they were doing it in the sink. That's smart.
The water's right there.
Yeah. You can put it out.
I think I like
I think
this.
it's a great idea.
Yeah.
No.
I think it's I think
This
it's
is bad.
I mean,
Things like bowling with cats.
well, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Rana was too busy to get into trouble really with
Yeah. she was
cheerleading
busy
her
with
whole life.
cheerleading and weightlifting and any other sport that she could possibly do.
Yeah, I watch all the stuff on Facebook. I see it go by and stuff, and I'm like, man, she is just crazy busy with all that stuff.
She is.
Very good, and she's very accomplished in all of it. Correct?
Yes.
I mean,
She is a world's champion in cheerleading.
mhm.
She's been in 2 movies.
Yes.
And can we say the movies or is it
Champions League.
okay? All right.
Yeah.
Wow,
1 and 2.
very
Yeah.
nice. So now I have to go and watch those movies because I've never seen.
No, yeah. You have
They're
to go see. Yeah.
On.
You're obligated.
Sort of like documentary kind of movies
Okay.
Yeah.
about
About the
level
sport.
5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we had to
teams.
fly out to Hollywood to actually film it.
Really?
So
Wow.
it was pretty cool.
You guys have a really fun, interesting life.
No, it's super interesting.
You know what? I'm starting to feel really depressed.
So
right
I
now.
still
Can you counsel me at all because I'm starting to feel a little depressed here.
Well, my pressing question is, as you know from the show, is like I'm not a Florida fan.
Right.
So you guys were from Ohio and you moved to Florida. You've been there a while, and now I'm like, well, I don't know. That sounds super interesting compared to Ohio.
But see, they have to fly places to make it interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's true.
not in Florida.
It's
the
not in
fun is
Florida.
not in Florida.
The fun is not in Florida. It's so different than the TV ads that I see.
Yeah. No. The beaches are hot. Who likes to go to the beach and get sand in their bathing suits?
And our tornadoes are much bigger.
Yeah. You got the hurricanes.
Yeah, right.
Are you guys wore out from everybody needs to leave the state of Florida?
I am.
And then they're like, oh, never mind, we were wrong.
We don't even prepare anymore.
No, I think that's what I think this is what they want to do.
Yeah.
Is they want to, cry wolf so many times, and then everybody's just going to be like, okay. And then boom, a big one will hit.
Right.
Wipe Florida off the map. It'll
Yeah.
just be sand.
Yeah. And you guys can just jump on a boat and, motor right up here. Once it all floods out.
Once it's all gone.
Once it's all underwater.
There'd be a conspiracy to sell all the stuff on the shelves that
Well, it seems
they
to
don't
be.
want anymore.
It seems to be. And I ask, how many times do you need to buy a generator? Because I'm pretty sure everybody in Florida's got to own at least 1 or 10.
Yeah.
I don't
We
know.
went one day because he had to buy a cot for his job because he also does emergency operations.
Okay.
So we went in to buy the cot, and some guy in there had bought every single generator that the store had
This is what I'm saying.
Wow.
Like,
because he wanted to sell it to people.
of course.
Oh
But-
my goodness.
But that still means those people have generators too.
Yeah.
How many? If you need a generator, go to Florida. I guarantee you can probably buy them for a stream in January.
There's a
But
lot of
that's
people that don't have them because they couldn't find them when
When they
the
were,
rush was on, and afterwards they say, "Well, I don't need one of those."
Right.
but they could probably trade their bread and bottled water for one
True.
because they were missing the generator sale, cleaning out the store shelves.
Right.
Well, that's like in Ohio, going to buy salt when you just got an ice storm,
Yeah,
and then you go in and you have to go buy cans of Morton because all the regular salt
is gone.
So you have to do that. You have to
Right.
play that game.
And how is it? We have the salt mine in the lake. How is it that we run out of salt?
I
I have no idea.
You guys
Walmart
have a
stores.
salt mine up there?
Yeah,
Under Lake Erie.
under Lake Erie,
Mhm.
3 miles down.
I did not know that.
Yeah, they're all the Great Lakes. Like there's one in Chicago too. Like the Great Lakes got salt under them, I guess.
And if you go to Mentor, you can actually pay $30 to sit in a Himalayan salt room. Is that
Oh,
correct? Like a salt room.
I have no
a salt
idea.
lamp.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Does it help at all? Do you notice any
I don't
difference?
know. He won't let me plug it in because he says it uses electricity.
Oh, are you guys on like a no electricity spend here? Are you off the grid or what's going down here, Richard?
He just doesn't like
What
our
goes
electric bill.
down is people leaving things on in a room after they are not in the room.
Yeah, I hear that.
Now I go through the
So-
house, and as I'm going through the room, I flip on every light in the house.
And but she doesn't turn them off when she's leaving.
This is fantastic.
That's great. That's great.
So they think I'm the electric Nazi because I'm like, turn it off. Turn all these off. What is
That's
I'm with
nickname.
you. I'm with you, brother.
See,
There you go.
I've flipped the script on this, and I've gone like, let's run the air down to 71. Let's turn every light on in the house. Let's do. I'm gonna go outside and use saws, and we're doing. And then when the electric bill comes in, and I'm like, well, I guess you can't go to the store this week. Why? Well, because our electric bill was $7,000. You know, what do you want me? What do you want me to do? And then I'm not the bad guy.
Yeah, well, yeah,
I was, and I got to use my saws.
Yeah.
Perfect.
it is. Sounds like a conspiracy to me.
Yeah.
The power company.
Uh-huh.
I come home the other day and the TV's been on all day. No one's home.
Well, what's
I
the
like-
dog and cats gonna watch?
Dog and cats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
sure they
true.
don't
Very
need
nice.
entertainment.
I heard the dog likes Ellen, so it's got to be on, and the cat likes Judge Judy. So you're catching both ends of the
Actually,
day.
sometimes because our TV is a 65-inch, so I just put up the YouTube aquarium so
Oh.
the cats can watch the fish.
There you go. And I don't think TVs use that much power anymore. It's all right.
You know Rebecca, the cop,
Yes.
cop lover?
Hey, Becky.
She says hi,
I did
Naomi.
not bring Carmack with me. He couldn't
Sorry.
get off of work.
Yeah, she's gonna
Uh,
be upset about that. I don't know. She just made a comment. She said aliens also have underwater bases too. I don't know where that came from.
From your salt mines.
Oh, and the
oh, from the salt mines.
Yeah,
I don't think there's aliens at the salt mine, though. They have to work.
they would.
Yeah.
And aliens don't work.
No, that's what I've heard.
And that's getting very controversial now. We need to stop.
We almost got. I think we just became racist for a second.
Yeah, or
Against aliens?
well, if you,
Well,
depends
what
on how you
kind of
term
aliens?
Yeah,
We could be talking in code.
yeah, we could be. So that would be wrong. All right. Well, now, Richard, your job is interesting, but not quite as interesting as Naomi's. It's
She's very involved with a lot of stuff.
yeah. Now, I mean, you have to deal with people all day long too. So you both have to come home and be like totally zonked out when it comes to all that stuff. Yes? No?
Yeah, for the most part. My Fridays, because I go in the morning to CrossFit at 5:30 in the morning, so I have to leave the house at 4:30 to get there, and then we both shoot football games on Friday night, so neither one of us get home until like 11 o'clock at night
Wow.
on Fridays.
Wow.
So it's insane.
And you do all this through the same. It's the same job. I mean, it's all your photography, the counseling, secretarial work or administrative work, that's all through this under the same. No, it's all
No.
different. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I have my day job, and then I own a company called County School Sports News.
That's your company.
It's my company. Yes.
Wow, very neat.
Yes.
Man, I'm starting to feel more
So
depressed.
we provide
Yeah, you are an
coverage,
unmotivated
stats,
person.
stories, and photos
Okay.
for all of Pasco County.
So you shoot games too on Fridays?
Yes.
Nice.
All
Do my
photography or
best to get
video.
the shot and not get run over.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So she makes you go in the field, do the field stuff.
No, she does a different game.
Oh,
They're
so
covering
you're
two
doing
at one
Cover different
time.
Schools.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Try to
Yeah.
get as many different teams as we
Mhm.
can on the site.
Right.
I'm more limited because I also work for the newspaper.
Okay.
So I have to shoot the sports that they want me to shoot. So I
Gotcha.
try to do all of that
Okay.
in one wrap.
Gotcha.
Yeah, in the Wesley Chapel area, because that's the newspaper she works for. The Wesley Chapel Times.
Mm-hmm.
So they want pictures of those teams.
Right. And I did see you got on the cover this last. Your picture got on the
Yes.
cover. I saw that's neat. Very neat.
Yeah.
So when you say that you work for a psychotherapist, is that what you said?
A forensic psychiatrist.
Yeah, I don't know why I used
No,
the
I
word
know. I
psycho.
knew the word forensic was in there, and that intrigues me.
Okay.
So
So can you tell us a little bit about that?
So basically, his job is when somebody claims a disability, he goes to court and he either disproves or he says, yes, this person actually has it. And he can do that by the way they speak, by the way they,
Ah,
their whole mannerism.
okay.
He's good at.
see, when I hear the word forensic, I go right to cops.
Yeah, like the investigating
like,
DNA
yeah,
and all that
right.
stuff.
Yes.
But he's obviously a psychologist who's not dealing with dead people because they
No.
don't talk a lot.
No.
So, so he's actually he meets with people that have questionable cases of like fraud.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. If they're just claiming a disability for secondary gain, then he can say yes or no, they don't really have this disability.
Wow, that could be fun.
That would be fun.
Like trying to catch people.
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
That's really neat.
that.
Also, people who in professions who get suspended or
We do a lot of doctors, nurses, anesthesiologists who divert medications and then take them themselves. So
Wow.
they go.
So
home.
this is it's the drug problem,
Yes.
and it is obviously huge.
Yes.
Like-
It's bigger than people think.
Uh-huh.
And so I was watching a news story like 2 weeks ago. There's a shock and amazement that there was two, what do you call them, wardens or people that are watching the Florida prison were sneaking drugs in to the people in the prison, and that there's a drug problem in the prison. And it's just like, listen, I want to know, where are they getting money to pay? That's the most interesting thing to me, because I'm not so surprised about the drugs into the prison, but how are they getting cash to pay back for, I don't know. But it goes into the prisons where you're thinking that's locked down and
Right.
should be
it's
whatever. Yeah, it's not. No, there's drug problem and it's all the way into prison.
Yeah.
So, and then it's coming out of the doctors' offices. That's how it's getting on the street. At least the legal medication type drugs, right?
Yes.
Wow.
I don't know if there's a way for people to give them money, send it in a letter or what.
Yeah, or like their family's paying, or
Right.
yeah.
Does the government give them an allowance while they're in prison?
For
Maybe?
drugs?
Yeah, use a drug allowance.
I think Donald. I think you need to start giving them allowance.
They're people too. They have rights and
Yeah,
needs.
they do.
Yeah,
And
and
it's a shame that they're in there and they have no money to spend.
no, not a dime.
Give them something, please. It's not like they have cable or anything. So I was intrigued when you said about NFL players.
NFL players.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what goes on with that?
So we see the NFL players who have substance abuse problems, and they have to go through our program before they can be cleared to actually be on the field.
Wow.
So
is this NFL players, like, do you get players from all over, or is it just like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
all over.
All over.
Yes.
Wow.
And are they like, so even though this is just answering a dumb question that I have, so even though you see these people on TV and they're, superstars, like when they come into this situation, like, are they broken? Are they sad? Are they like small children? Are they like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yes, a lot of them, I call them big kids,
right.
because they've come into all this money and they don't know how to manage it, and they either start drinking too much or they start using drugs, and then when they're released from the team, they're like, I don't know what happened. Really?
When,
You don't see
and like
what's going on?
permanently, or like they're on like suspension.
Some of them have been released permanently.
Wow.
So, and then we have to deal with the mothers of these football players. How can I help my son? Like, he's a grown kid.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Right.
Well, I think that they spend so much time pouring money and efforts and energies
Yes.
through school to get their kids to these places, these superstars, and then when the bottom falls out, they don't know what to do. They didn't spend any time, like, teaching them how to make toast and make the bed. They were rushing to football games, and
that was their focus.
Yeah, that was their focus.
Yeah. And I know a lot of them, I can't say who we see and who we don't see, but some of them are perceived as arrogant and just bad people, but when I see them in the office, they're totally different people. They're respectful. They're, I've never had an issue with any of them.
Yeah.
So,
well, part of their life has to be almost like an act, or like part of it's a movie, because they have to act one way. They feel they have to act a certain way for the public, and then they have themselves. So that's got to be hard, emotionally too. I would imagine.
Yes.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, now the rubber's hitting the road of, wait, there's a reality past what I've been growing up with.
Right.
Now they're facing like adulthood,
right?
And they didn't see it coming. I really wonder, for even any sports figure, when you go up through the ranks and say you top out at college, even you've spent your first 25 years worried about that, and you don't make it to a pro team, or what kind of psychology do you have to deal with coming out of that?
Right.
Because now you're like, well, I didn't think about if I wanted to be a carpenter or a millwright or a lawyer. I have no idea. I mean, they say they do, but a lot of them go on these history, this is my judgment, but like history scholarships, and they get into school for all these crazy things because the school wants them to play sports and they want to play sports. And then are they really ready for life when it's over?
Yeah, right. We have one down there in Tampa that's an attorney now, Brad Culpepper.
Oh, Culpepper, right? I remember that name.
He's a big time attorney down there now.
Wow.
Well, the ones that they are the some that have their stuff together, ready to go. Our friend LeBron James just what did he do with the word Taco Tuesday? I think he got his what do you call that when you get the rights to it? Copyright or trademark? Yeah. Like how in the
Taco Tuesday?
He copyrighted Taco.
Yeah, he wanted Taco. Yeah, he copyrighted or did something with Taco Tuesday, and I'm like, so anybody who prints Taco Tuesday, they're all LeBron James money now. Like,
I'm gonna start printing it all over the place. What's he gonna do?
What's he gonna do?
What's he gonna do? You can't squeeze blood from a turnip. That's what my mom always said.
Yeah, right.
Crab. Yeah, it's a turnip, right?
Oh, I always say you can't get water from a rock.
Oh, well, yes, you can.
Start printing the trademark. And
Where's it at?
Right there in the word.
No, I know. And then you show me Moses, and then we'll have a discussion.
I'm glad you said Moses and not Noah. That always gets mixed up.
Do it? Does it?
Yeah.
Noah's on a boat.
The joke.
No, I don't.
Like, how did Moses get all the animals on the ark? And people are trying to think, and they're like, well, Moses did, and it was Noah. Or how that joke goes.
I didn't know that was even a joke. That sounds like a terrible joke.
It is a terrible joke. Yeah, very much so. So you only see NFL players then, not?
Oh no, we see doctors, attorneys.
Yeah, that's almost just as interesting.
But I mean, is the NFL where like a lot of this abuse is happening more so than like professional baseball or?
Yeah, we get a ball player once in a blue moon, but we do see them.
Oh, okay.
So, but not nearly as often as the football players. We just have one big NFL day because.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I would think you got to have the same problem in the NBA.
We've never seen a basketball player.
Huh.
Huh. is right. I would think
Like,
those
Doesn't
two
mean that
sports
there's not. They may have a different
a
psychiatrist.
different
for
place to go.
Right.
Absolutely. And because those two sports seem to be our holy grail sports right now. Like I like baseball, but baseball just isn't as big as it used to be.
Right.
And so like basketball and football are like, that's the ones everybody wants into. And that's where I think a lot of this culture ends up. So I have a feeling there's probably another one of your companies for the NBA out there somewhere.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
I think so. One more quick question, and then we can move on to where else we want to head this morning. But in your job, are you restricted in how you can talk with the people? Do you have to stay away from any kind of faith discussions?
Yes. We do not talk about faith, just because that's just, if they want to open the discussion, I can't certainly preach to them and tell them,
Okay.
scripture and stuff.
Right.
But if they want to open that door themselves, then we can.
Then
go
you can
further.
discuss that.
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, because the schools obviously have always restricted that.
Right.
And so in this job opportunity, that's restricted too. Do you think that's restricted because in the world of psychology and counseling and those kind of things, it's still a science of brain chemistry and abuse,
Yes.
not really a faith issue?
Yes.
Okay.
Where do you fall on addiction is a disease?
I believe it is.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
'Cause
And that's from personal experience.
Yeah.
So you guys want to hear my experience?
It looks like the three people that are on would like to hear it. Yes. No, yeah, I'd like to.
So in 2006, I was diagnosed with MS. In 2007, I was diagnosed with lupus. And then in 2008, I broke my neck. So those three combined, I started on pain medication. And then the pain medication kept getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And then towards the end, I was on a fentanyl patch. I was on oxycodone. I was on Xanax. And I was on a muscle relaxer.
Wow. And you're
All
still
four.
here. You're
And I
still
was
here.
functioning. Yes.
Wow.
But then it got to the point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to end up dead because I've seen it happen. So in 2011, I went into rehab.
Wow.
And
So what would make? See, it sounds to me like, and I'm very controversial on Facebook for this sometimes, but I have a fear of calling things a disease because a disease means that it's something that a doctor can say that you have and only a doctor can release you from. And so I feel like we have tried to push things into having a label that doctors want to make us unnormal. We're going into my neuroses and my conspiracy brain. If people can be labeled unnormal, then somebody needs to be over you to make sure that you don't
stay
hurt
abnormal.
yourself.
Oh.
No, that you don't hurt yourself, right?
Right.
That now somebody, if you're a criminal, then you are in prison and you have someone watching over you to make sure that you're not a criminal anymore. Well, if you have a disease or something that gives you a disability or an inhibition to be able to operate normally, then there is a part of the government that we can generate that needs to watch over you. You need to go in and take drug tests. You need to write a letter about how you're doing this month or whatever that may be. It sounds like you had a choice and you came to the realization that like, this is not good for me and I need out of this. And you were able to go, was that a hard thing?
It was very hard. And because MS is a disease. And I think my addiction is also a disease. I will always be an addict. And the last time I had surgery, because I had a mass on my back, I refused to take pain medication because I knew that once I took that first pill, I'd be hooked again. And it did. I took one pill right after the surgery. Sorry, that's the office.
You got to take that?
No, that's the office.
It's
probably just a patient on something.
I thought maybe they were going to. We saw your Facebook stuff. You've been terminated.
Yeah.
It's a patient. So I took one pill after my surgery, and I told Richard, I said, I can't take anymore because I want more already after just taking one.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is where I don't want to belabor it, but you were able to make the choice.
It's a
that
choice
you,
every day. that I
because
have
we
to
all
fight.
are addicts. I think that the word addiction, we all can become addicted to
to
something.
something. Absolutely.
Right? So it does,
Absolutely.
and then when does that cross into the line of sin? Like sin, it's far to say that sin is addictive. So we're all sin addicts, and it doesn't matter what that sin is, and only Christ can break that.
Right.
And I don't know. I just get very nervous when people want to, like, I have the type 2 diabetes, so I've got a CDL for driving truck or whatever, and it's very much harder for me to do anything with that CDL. And so that's an actual, to me, that's an actual disease.
Right.
And I still think that if I would watch my diet and like I could manage it better, possibly get rid of it, all of these kinds of things, but that's an actual diagnosed thing. And there you go. Now I'm limited. If I needed to drive truck as a backup, I wouldn't be able to do it very easily. I'd have to go and be checked and monitored. And so if we take a thing like an addiction, alcoholism, drugs, I don't even like porn. Do we let somebody put the word disease on us if we get found to be addicted to porn?
But porn isn't in the DSM.
What's the DSM?
The Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Diseases.
But why wouldn't
it?
But
may
why
be coming though, right? Because they are finding that the brain looks.
Why wouldn't it
similar to people who are hooked on sex and porn? The brain is stimulated similar to those who are on drugs.
Right.
They're starting to find that, right?
Yes. I don't know if it's going to be in there, but
Lisa Ling's doing a big thing on CNN.
Abuse is in there, and drug addiction is in there.
Mm-hmm.
So
I guess
classified.
I guess my point of bringing up, like when you mentioned the porn and then saying, okay, the statistics, or I mean the studies show that it does start to affect the brain similar to those on drugs or alcohol abuse. Is it possible that any addiction, sin, alters our state of being, not only spiritually but physically as well?
Well, physically, for certain, that's dopamine. It doesn't matter how your brain releases the dopamine.
Right.
That and now we start to go into physicality versus metaphysics. Are we just robots that we find the thing that releases dopamine that makes us happy, and it doesn't matter what that is, and now we're addicted to that? And so then you
have to take medication to control the dopamine levels,
right? And so I get where the disease part and where that argument will come from, but I think then if you do that, the whole population has a big problem. If you do that, then the whole population is subject to someone watching over them and being their nanny. Because
so you're saying that eventually then diabetes isn't just a disease, but now addiction to sugar could be a disease. And all of a sudden anybody can call
that would have been pre where I am now. Yeah. I liked carbohydrates and sugar. And I didn't, there's a lot of other things because it's also circulatory, but well,
disease or no disease, right? I think it comes back to what you were talking about earlier, and that is choice. And praise the Lord that you made the choice to go and find help to get set free from that. And I think that's key too, is that I think as human beings, it's really easy, even as Christians, it's really easy to go, well, just cry out to God and he'll save you. He'll change it. He does that kind of stuff, but sometimes, and actually more times than not, we got to go get help sometimes. And I think that's important for people to know, because I think for too long the church has looked at people with addictions and problems and diseases and said, "Oh, just pray more, or just get people."
Or we run them out. Right.
Here's my thing. I would like to do a study on pastors' wives, because how many pastors' wives have you seen who are extremely overweight? Because
she didn't mean anything by that, April.
Oh, except for April. Okay, maybe a few other ones. But you think about it, and the pastors' wives are expected to be perfect.
Right.
They're not allowed to do anything. They're not allowed to say anything. So they just internalize all that, and they just eat their way through everything.
Well, or take on some kind of substance abuse problem. I'm positive that goes on. Because you're almost like you're taking the whole other half of the church, the female side, but then you're not the pastor, and you're expected to be. You have expectations to be over here and do these things,
Right.
and so you're taking on other people's problems, maybe, and then you've got your own issues of whatever. Yeah, that would be an interesting thing, but I would then go, well, I think that that's just wives in general, like especially wives. We have 4 kids, and sometimes my wife's like, and my brother has 4 kids, and sometimes I know his wife's like, and you just wonder, like, because there's these roles and these things that they do, and you don't want to say like they're unimportant or whatever, but it's almost like it's a secondary role. And so there's a lot of stress and a lot of not understanding of what goes into being a homemaker or a pastor's wife or some of these traditional things that lead to, a lot of problems within a house as far as like women's roles and what their depressions and addictions are.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, like then your kids leave. Then when your kids leave, I think there's another thing there.
Oh, I don't know what that's like yet, because I can't get mine to get out.
I've seen a lot of.
What did you do? Build on, like, instead of an in-law suite, you build on a kid's suite, and
I have always said that when our house goes up for sale, we have to tell the new owners that Robert comes with it because he's not leaving.
Oh, that's funny. I'd love to see. Well, I'd love to see all 3 of them, but Robert is also fun. Yeah. Well, the pastor's wife thing is interesting because April, I've never asked her to be anything that she's not, and she's always. I mean, she has that spirit about it. I mean, I don't know how God did it. Obviously, He only knows how to do it, because her and I both probably would not have found each other if it wasn't for Him. And then when we did find each other, I was like, I think I'm going to Florida to go to Bible college, but I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. I just know I want to follow God. And she's like, okay, I'll go with you. And boy, I don't know, she must have been nuts and crazy, right? And so we did all that stuff, but she has this personality about herself that she's a servant. She loves people. And that's like half the battle when it comes to church and ministry, because if you're not that type of person, you're already then going to be labeled as a pastor's wife as not caring, not compassionate, not whatever. And so she's just seen as, because of who she is, she's seen that way. So she's always been fairly accepted. But at the same time, God has also put us in amongst a family of people that have never pressed her to be something she's not either. So I've always been thankful and grateful for that.
Right.
And so she's not overweight because of that, I mean,
well, that and George is her dad.
Yeah, and Georgia. Now I can't get her to work out. That is one thing.
That's awesome.
She won't work out for nothing, and I mean she will if I press her, but she doesn't like to. And then it has to be something different all the time because she gets bored if it's the same thing all the time. So if we go for a walk, this is so crazy. We go for a walk and she's like, we need to take a different route today. I'm like, why can't we just go the same route? That was a mile. No, we need to go a different route. All right, okay, so we go a different route. Next day, we need to find a different route this day. So we have like 3 routes now in Farmington. There's not any road. There's no roads left. We have 3 roads.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's not a big town.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to move.
So I'm like, all right, I'll tell you what, we'll go the opposite way. So we'll go the same route, but we'll go the opposite way this time. It should look different. Sure enough, it did. She's like, oh, I never noticed that. So it's great. It works that way. But I think you're onto something there. I think you should do a study on that. I think that would be amazing.
Write a book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know how they sell books anymore, but man, they fly off the shelves.
If you want, Matt and I will read the book and then we'll forward it. You know how people write like something.
A forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll write something in it.
You have to be careful though. I could make it longer than the book.
It could be, yeah. Well, you're only allowed like a little line.
I know. I don't know what I'd do.
Go on the back. Or the front. Yeah, it goes on the back of the book, I think.
Speaking of books, do you know my brother Dean? He's the youngest.
Okay.
He just retired from the Air Force.
Okay, yeah.
So he says that now that he's retired, he's going to write a book.
Okay.
And it's called Lies My Mother Told Me.
Really? Sounds like a good
Chapter
book.
1. This is going to hurt me more than it hurts you. He's a total lie.
That is a total lie.
It sounds like a good book.
He's serious too, though? He's going to write it?
He is.
Nice.
Yeah.
I would look forward to reading that.
He said that he thought that Sundays and spankings just went together.
That's awesome.
Tricky spanking stuff.
Yeah.
And now today there is no such thing as Sundays or spankings.
Hmm.
In my house, there is.
Yeah.
Mine
Oh,
too.
there is.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
Oh,
loud.
sorry. Never mind.
I still remember the day that Brian was acting up. We were in Florida. And Brian was acting up, and he was standing up in the cart. And I told him to sit down. He wouldn't sit down. So I took my 2 fingers, and he had shorts on. We're in Florida, and so I, right across his thigh,
Yeah.
and stung him. He cried, sat down, and he didn't stand up again. And April's like, Brian. I mean, she was really upset with me. She said, Brian, you can't do that in the store. She goes, someone sees that, and she said, they could call the police on us. And I said, listen. I said, I will go to jail if I have to. I said, but my son has 2 little marks on his thigh. But if he stands up and falls out of there, he could have a concussion or
Right.
worse yet,
Right.
have brain
Right.
damage from falling out and busting his head. Which one's easier? So, and that set him down, and I won't even tell about when he spit in my face what happened to him the time he spit in my face.
Oh, heavens to Betsy's.
I won't even say what happened there because I could go to jail right now for that.
Is there a statute of limitations?
I don't know. He's an adult now, so I don't know. I guess he could press charges on me. I won't be paying for college anymore, though.
So speaking of falling and hitting your head, did you see the Browns fan at the municipal stadium that was on a van? And he wasn't drunk, okay? He just fell off. While they're doing a live spot for Channel 19, they were talking about all the people down at Muni Lot. And this guy's standing on a van, and he just falls off. And he fractured his skull, broke his shoulder, and broke like 6 ribs.
What?
Do you not see this?
No.
So is the Browns paying for his emergency care?
No, it's not even in the Brown Stadium. It was in the Muni Lot. And he didn't want to go. He was trying to waive off medical care, and they're like, dude, you're like really hurt.
Wow.
And they finally got him to go to the hospital, and he was messed up really bad. And his son's like, he wasn't drunk. He has a medical condition where he just, and I don't want whatever. Maybe he does.
Yeah.
But looked awful drunk to me.
He just doesn't feel pain.
He just doesn't feel pain.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, you have to look this up on Facebook later because it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Other people's pain.
Yeah. Other people's pain.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, you guys came all the way out here, and so is there anything? We got about 15 minutes left before the hour's over. Is there anything that you guys want to throw out there, or discuss?
No.
I was going to try to get Richard. I'll say this quietly to sing a song for us because Richard not only plays the trumpet, but he also sings. He used to sing at church and stuff. So we might close with
Some song.
"Come Lord Jesus" or something.
All right.
Do you even know that song?
Not by heart, no.
Just as I am. Maybe because these 3 people that are watching probably need an altar call right about
Does
now.
Right about
anybody have
now.
any questions on there?
Becky just says that that's why she's single. She doesn't need any of that. I don't know what that was in reference to, but
Maybe she was looking for a pastor for her husband and then decided, like, no, I don't need any of that. That sounds treacherous. I'm glad I don't have any of that.
yeah. That does.
Well,
That's-
Becky, Carmack's not a pastor, so
that's true. But she could do a study on the wives of police officers.
Oh, that has to be brutal.
Yeah, that would be brutal.
Yeah.
It'd be tough.
absolutely.
Always being concerned if your husband or wife is going to come home.
We are fans of that live PD show, my wife and I.
Yeah.
And there is another show called PD Cam. Have you seen this one? Becky, hold on to your hat if you haven't seen this one. So PD Cam is all their body cams, and it's done by the same people. And you see some of the same police officers, but it's much more like there's a guy gets shot on there. There's a cop who gets shot on there. And I'm like, I'm almost ready to change the channel because I'm like, are we watching somebody die? I can't do that.
Wow.
And he lives. Everything's fine. But there's cars flipping over. There's shots being fired. It's much more like you're always watching live PD going, all right, this is random. We found a guy who needs to go to jail. Drug heads and people go, really? Is this what we found? But this PD Cam is much more serious as far as like law enforcement, like danger. You see the dangers of the job, and then you're like, oh, the wives, oh my goodness. And then anybody who disrespects police officers is crazy.
I think it is too.
Yeah.
That's
Our oldest son loves to watch live PD.
Well, Pasco County didn't renew their contract with him,
Oh.
so No
But
more
he used to
Carmack.
like text us or call us. Hey, your
Your
neighborhood's
neighborhood's-
on.
Well, I think
That's a class.
I've often wondered because Spokane used to be a town on there,
Yes.
and that was always fun to watch. I'm a big lover of the Northwest, and they dropped off, and I'm like, these municipalities have to be like, okay, this is cool, this brings exposure, but is this the exposure that we want
Exactly.
to the area?
Exactly.
Because you're just seeing
They're not doing anything for Pasco
problem after
County.
problem after problem. But, Pasco County is full of drunks, drug heads, and people.
Killers.
Because
Did you see that they found this guy in our neighborhood who had buried his girlfriend's parents in their backyard,
no,
and then her. So the parents had been dead for I don't know how long, and then it was the daughter that was dead for how long, right? For a long time, and he had buried her, and was texting with her phone to the parents, and then
so that they would think she's alive.
Yeah. So then they tried to come visit, and he killed both of them and buried them back there.
Oh my goodness. Wow, that's exciting. And I think every area is terrible and every area can be great. But I know that there are townships that are going to be like, all right, this live PD's been fun, but we got to get him out of here.
Yeah.
Seemed like a great idea.
This seemed really good until
Not doing anything for tourism.
no, they're making I don't know why anyone would move to Missouri right now. That place looks terrible. That it's crazy.
Yeah. Got anything interesting coming up? Any
Let's just start
questions?
something.
Any questions?
I have no questions.
So a lot of times we talk about technology in humans, like merging technology in humans. We talk about demons and aliens and crazy things. And
I
then
think it was aliens when Becky was on here,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
yeah, and Bigfoot. She's
Yeah.
she's a huge Bigfoot person. Yeah. So we go into all kinds of, we talk just about anything on here. And then we do our fair share of church bashing and what's wrong with the church and the modern day church. And so we cover the gambit as far as topics, what we like to talk about. And he's done this himself a couple times, and he said it's really tough. And now that he's gone, I'm finding out that it's kind of tough.
Okay, let's watch Brian try to do.
I'm not. I'm just gonna go
You
right
just
for the
go.
camera. This is so professional here. I'm just
No,
gonna-
yeah, we have this crazy show of ours.
Were you guys talking about Hugh Her?
No, I went into the technology. I don't know if that's interesting or not, but I shared a video with him this week. Have you seen that before?
No, but it was very interesting.
It was very interesting. He was
This
in
is the guy right there.
he was in an interview with a fella who apparently they were in China. I find this interesting too. There's a bunch of Chinese writing behind him, but
the guy's British that's interviewing because they kill her.
no, I know,
Whatever.
and he's obviously ultra swanky Northwestern American,
Mhm.
so or New Yorker.
A lot of stereotyping goes on.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. That's what I do. That's how I make my judgments through life. So he's talking about prostheses, and they were talking about when does something become a cyborg or bionic, and the differences. And it sounds like it's the thing we always talk about. Like, I think that if technology is integrated into a human being, if we weren't sinful, rotten people, it would be amazing. Like, I think it'd be really cool. As the tech nerd that I am, who wouldn't want that stuff? Who wouldn't want bionic implant just in your brain so that you could talk to the internet and be like, boom, look how fast I can communicate. At the same time, we're sinful and horrible people, and I can't see it working out in our favor and not being turned into the beast really at this point.
Right. Yeah.
And so he was going on about, like, did you hear them say we have cyborgs? Like, that exists. And what makes a cyborg is tying actual nerves and neurons so that you feel the implement, that you're like, you can manipulate it, you feel it is like it is part of you. And that kind of blew my mind.
Did I miss something? Because I thought he said he could feel his legs like that.
I thought he said that he wasn't. He was more bionic.
Okay.
But that cyborg does exist.
All right.
when we start blurring these lines of
Mhm.
man and machine, it really starts to get scary.
Well, what I found was interesting too, and I'm totally for helping someone who has, which he didn't. He said disability is not the right label. How do you remember what he termed that? He said it shouldn't be called a disability. Anyway, so if someone
Essentially boiling down that it's just how your life is now,
right,
and the problem that you have a new set of problems to overcome.
right,
But when you label something disabled, it's like you permanently are broken.
right, and he said what we don't have broken people, we have broken technology is what he's saying. So what's interesting though is what I thought, and I'm totally for helping people who have limbs severed and do all that kind of stuff. But now you're talking like he sits on a board that will determine whether somebody who has prosthesis can compete in like the Olympics or some kind of a sport and that.
Yeah, this was
and
interesting.
so they put him on, and they do all the studies and they decide, this. And they had one particular study that he was on the board with, and he said, okay, they let this guy, and they said no, he doesn't have any kind of advantage because of these prostheses. But he came to the conclusion, and he said, let's face it though. He said the most watched sport is NASCAR. And he said, everybody wants to see human interaction with machine. He said, so there's a day coming, and he said probably 50 years, where we will be not wanting to watch the human beings sprint.
The regular Olympics.
Right.
We're going to want to watch the Paralympics.
Right.
Because they'll be augmented to a point where
they can jump higher.
They will be doing things that a regular human being can't do. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said it'll be interesting.
You will, and I think this is kind of a bold prediction, but I guess I could kind of see it because you're purists in anything. But yeah, if you had, no legs and you were able to now jump 30 feet in the air and recover that would be amazing.
It would be.
Probably would watch it.
I got to photograph the Paralympic hockey team, USA hockey team, while they were practicing in Wesley Chapel.
Okay.
And that was amazing to watch these people who had no legs be able to play hockey.
Wow. No, that is incredible. Did they have so were they all standing prostheses?
No, they were all in these special made sleds.
Okay.
So, but yeah.
Well, so if I could suppose where this is going is they're going to be removed from those sleds
and have regular
legs that they feel and use and play hockey.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's crazy.
Yeah. And it's amazing technology. I think it is. Well, what does that do then? Say for instance, like someone like Rana who competes in her own, like, are they going to, is it going to be separated now, or is it all going to be combined, or does the person who's just naturally talented, they're no good anymore? Like nobody wants to watch, be a part of that in 50 years. Is that where we're headed?
Well, we're headed to where humans aren't going to be interesting. Like we're going to be relegated to the trash heap if we're not careful.
With AI.
With AI and people who are cyborgs, because these people want to live forever.
Mm-hmm.
Like this guy, don't make no mistake, he is a globalist and wants to live forever. He's one of these people that own Google, people that own. That's what they're doing all this for.
Right.
Is finding a way to keep them alive forever.
Yeah. Yeah. We've got several brains of these guys on cryovac, right? They're cryovac.
Well,
waiting.
I think that
waiting
to come back online.
Yes.
Waiting to come back. I think they're doomed. I'd be surprised if they come back.
Well, I would be too.
But if these guys can live, like if they can make it far enough, I think we'll be able to keep them alive for a very long time with technology, and that's scary.
Yeah, it is scary.
That was a regular topic for us.
That was a good one. So let me ask the question for both of you. Now, Richard, I don't know that have you ever watched this? Naomi, you watch it.
I watch it every Friday.
Yeah.
I don't ever schedule patients at 10 o'clock.
Really? Oh my goodness.
I know I gotta watch this.
Oh heavens to
Wow.
Betsy's.
Wow.
Like Trainwreck watch this, or it's interesting watch
know,
this?
it's interesting.
I think I might have caught a glimpse of it one day.
Okay.
But you didn't watch it? It's
Maybe,
highlighted
I
my
think
day.
you showed me something on it.
So I guess my question is, how do we find more people like you, Naomi, to watch this? Do you think there's a way to do that?
We need better marketing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Does that mean we have to have money?
Yeah.
Yes.
Marketing always means money.
Yes.
Well, I don't know that we shoot it in an office with you in front of filing cabinets.
Yeah, get a
Are you
regular
on
studio.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we're on Facebook right now. In fact,
We're on Facebook and YouTube both. Do you watch it through? You watch it through
I
Facebook,
watch it through Facebook.
Yeah.
on Facebook.
Yeah.
and that is a good.
You ever tag
Platform.
anybody?
What?
You ever tag anybody?
I don't. I should start tagging people.
Oh, okay. We could tag. Yeah. So
And sharing.
And sharing.
tagging and sharing.
We have to encourage people to share and what do you call it? Not register, but
Subscribe.
Subscribe.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
need subscribers.
Yeah, because once you hit so many people, then every ad that's shown on your YouTube, you get paid for.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I think you need at least 100,000 subscribers though, or something.
Oh, we're close. We're really close.
Or is it, it's so many thousands of.
You're almost there.
We're
Maybe
almost there.
It
I
might,
can
it
feel
might
it.
be 10,000 subscribers.
Is it 10,000?
Before you start getting actually paid.
I want to get to the wretched guy level.
Yeah. What do they got? About 84.
I think he's it's working on 100,
Mhm.
and I mean I'm sure he's turning over.
So if you were to watch other YouTube live stuff, do you guys? What do you watch?
Everything for me is photography related.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So we need to do a show on photography one day.
Well, this is what's so cool. I don't really hardly watch regular TV anymore.
We don't either.
Yeah, because you can dial up what you're interested in.
Right.
Like and watch everything from I could need to change a washer motor in my car for the windshield washer to I like music, so I'm watching music or guitar promos or what all kinds of
Oh.
stuff.
The other thing that I like to watch for entertainment is Brandon Ferris.
Brandon Ferris.
He's hysterical. He was homeless, and now he's made YouTube videos, and that's all he does. And he makes tons of money doing this.
Wow.
He's hysterical.
Brandon Ferris. We're gonna look him
Brandon
We'll
up.
have to look him up.
Yeah. Maybe we can
Yes.
learn some stuff from him.
I make Richard watch him every once in a while.
Do you think he's hilarious? You like him?
I only watched a couple times, but he had some funny stuff.
Yeah.
One thing I was watching was about
Cleaning the kitchen.
cleaning the kitchen, being a hoarder.
He has hoarder mentality because he used to be homeless, so he
Right.
doesn't want to throw anything away.
Gotcha.
And
Oh,
he's got pieces, and he's like, I don't even know what this goes to.
That's great. All right. Well, we are planning on having a studio eventually.
we will,
Yeah.
or at least a better setting,
A better setting. Yeah.
better microphones.
Better microphones.
I can donate stands, green screens.
Oh wow.
What
See,
else do you
we
need?
got
We can have
connections now.
dinosaurs behind us.
Yeah.
Nice.
Really cool. Like the Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Man. All right. Well, it's about that time. We got just a couple minutes. So, Matt, you want to close us in prayer today?
Why would you do that?
I know. I'm just playing.
Yeah. It's not even nice. It's not even nice, Brian.
Well, that'd be like me looking at Richard and say, Richard, would you sing us? Would you serenade us right now?
Hey, I was cringing for him.
Were you?
Yeah, I was. I was like, oh, don't.
Yeah.
So we have so a couple weeks ago in our sermon at church, he talked about selfishness. That's one of the things that I wanted to bring up, and generosity.
Okay.
And whoo, it hit home with me, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he said that when you do something knowing what the reward is at the end of it, it's not being generous, it's just a transaction. And I was like, whoo,
That's a good point.
because sometimes we think we're doing things out of generosity and we're not. We're doing it for the end reward.
Yeah. Talked about needing to do things for God, not expecting some kind of reward.
For it.
Now, how easy is that though for us today? Because we have all been
And
raised.
it's super hard
It is. It's huge.
because we're all raised in a me society.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Even like if you're good in church, I'll give you a. I mean, that's how we bribe our kids half the time.
Right.
You know, if you do something, you get rewarded for it. I remember. I mean, my mom and dad are both gone now, but I remember, and this is not to criticize my mom, but I remember that growing up, and I still struggle with this today. That growing up, if I did what was required of me or what I was supposed to, I received love and accommodation and all that kind of stuff. If I didn't, I was almost kind of like shunned, or and it's like, so now you learn that if you do something to please people, then you get something back.
Right.
And so now it's been difficult for me. I mean, God has been stretching me and changing me, but sometimes it's difficult to do something for someone, not expecting that, oh, they'll love me back.
Right.
You know,
Right.
especially that love part, because that for me growing up, that was the whole thing. You know, if I please this person, they'll love me. You know, and so now to do something and go, I don't need your love. You know, I really don't. I have the Father's love. I don't need that. That's been a hard thing. I mean, God has been changing me and moving me in that direction, but it's a hard thing.
It really is. Yeah. And that sermon was an eye opener for me
Wow.
because
That's powerful.
yeah.
And then if you are the person that's shunning when you're upset,
Right.
you're murdering that person.
Yeah.
That's true.
Isn't that crazy?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I saw that on a Todd Friel interview. He interviewed some guy and he's like, if you're a person who gives like the silent treatment, or you know, somebody that's just a different way of showing your anger, and you're actually murdering that person. You're like,
I'm sorry, honey.
I
I mean to kill you last week.
over and over.
Yeah, I've been murdered several times.
But sometimes I have to give the silent treatment because if I say something,
Right,
it's going to be something that I can't take back.
right.
So I'd rather just be silent.
Which speaks to your selfishness.
Exactly.
Oh,
I am a selfish person.
isn't it ridiculous, this sin thing? It's a
Ooh.
it's a real mess.
It is a mess. If we could get rid of ourselves, we'd be all right.
If I could be a cyborg, I would have.
This cyborg thing sounds like a really good idea.
Yeah, that's the perfect deception. God said you're to yourself. Plug in.
Here I'm gone.
Wow,
Wow.
that's powerful. That
Yeah.
is. It's weird that you say that, because we had someone confess in prayer a couple weeks ago, confessed and said, I need prayer for deliverance because I'm just a very selfish person. I mean, I was thankful that someone would be that honest and broken
Right.
to say, hey, I need this. And we said, yeah, we're going to pray about that, but we all need that, I think.
Yes.
Well, I think we're all selfish.
Mhm.
You can't do one thing that makes you not selfish.
Right.
That's what we fight. We're fighting ourselves the whole time.
Yeah.
Because the original lie, we want to be like God.
Yep. So if we could do what Paul said in Galatians 2:20, where he says, hey, I've been crucified with Christ. No longer I live, but Christ lives in me. And the life I now live, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself up for me. And that's where we have to get. And it's like you said, like the addiction thing, that's a daily thing. It's a daily choice.
It's a daily dying to yourself.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Paul said that daily I pick up my cross.
Yeah.
So
Well, we should end this. I have to go repent.
we should. We're getting too deep here now, so we got to end this. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. And
Bye.
Naomi and Richard.
Thanks for
being
coming.
here.
It's been
Thanks.
great.
Thanks for having us.
Now you have to go back to Florida so you can be our number 1 fan again.
So I have some viewers.
We'll have a viewer.
And you're going to tag everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Well, that was good, guys. Thank you for entertaining. So actually, we're not a whole lot different